Going on, everyone? Thanks for tuning back into the channel. I'm Johnny Mac, and today we're going to be going over the May 13th hot fix for scavengers. Though they call it a hot fix, it's more of a patch. Why they don't call it a patch, I have no idea. But anyway, that's neither here nor there. We're going to be going over a couple different aspects of this patch, which a couple are a little controversial and a couple other ones are being pretty well received. I've had an opportunity to play the game a little bit on this new patch. First thing this morning at around 5 a.m. Yes, I'd get up early. But let's go ahead and dig on in and see what we can talk about. Okay, so first of all, I'm not going to be going over every aspect of this patch. I'm only going to be going over the key points that I think people want to hear about first and foremost. So let's go ahead and dig on in. First thing that they're going to be talking about is they're going to be addressing the cheating and exploits. What exactly they're referring to, I'm not entirely sure. I would assume this is some sort of like damage hack where people are, changing system files where they can do more damage or something of that sort. I don't know. Maybe somebody in the public or general community might be able to enlighten me on that because I'm not aware of it. So let's go ahead and dig on into the looting and player weapons. Now, this is a key point that I know was causing a bunch of controversy with a lot of players. I think it was Baggins TV who was specifically mentioning Ballora and being overpowered, or probably one of the biggest S-tier heroes in the game. And in particular, Halden's strike rifle is pretty strong. So if you manage to pick up the blue variant, or Lord have mercy if you got the purple variant of that strike rifle, and you got it in Ballora's hands along with her shotgun, which is probably one of the most overpowered weapons in the game, you have a very deadly combo. And I know a lot of people had a big problem with this. So what they've done is they've taken away the opportunity when you wipe a team, you no longer drop your weapons if your team is wiped. Instead, they replaced the rewards with scrap. And they actually changed it where it's a tiered type system. When the player drops scrap, it's based off of the player's shields, which is kind of cool. So if they're a green shield, I think they drop 25. If they're blue, they drop 50. If they're, if they're green, they drop 50. If they're blue, they drop 100. And if they're purple, it's 150. If you wipe the whole team, then you also get a bonus drop to scrap. So it's kind of cool because originally you didn't have much benefit to engaging in PvP. Now there's a little bit of a benefit and a little bit of incentive. It's still not much, but it's a step in the right direction. At least I think so anyway. And also the PvE scrap has been changed. You now have a greater opportunity to get scrap from engaging in the PvE. So that's a nice welcome addition. So no longer do you have to split up your team at the very beginning and go and engage these targets of opportunity. As far as, I think the original strategy is that you had one person split off and go do the teal objectives, so your ammo caches, armor caches, and the health caches, while the other two went to a 30 or 35 objective. Now it's kind of one of those things. Some people are arguing that they've reduced the skill cap, and maybe not, I don't know. I'm kind of neutral in this because the game still requires some skill. It really does. So lowering the skill cap or raising the skill cap, I don't know. I'm not necessarily one to agree with that. I like the fact that you have an increased chance with the AI, because I know if you spawn in and all of a sudden you find that you're in a party of 2 versus a party of 3, you're automatically at a drastic disadvantage. So this kind of helps a little bit. Now you don't have to split up or focus on splitting up just as much. You can kind of head to those objectives, those 30, 35s with a team of 2, and you're not as disadvantaged as you originally would be. So let's move on from this. Crafting costs, they were a little steep before. It's not as bad now. Once again, it kind of feeds back into that whole team of 2 thing, which does happen. Players disconnect or they drop connection or whatever, it doesn't matter. But the crafting cost before was maybe just a little bit too steep. So what they've done is they've actually cut back on that a little bit. So it's a little bit cheaper to craft your epics and rares and so forth. So it makes your loadouts a little bit more viable. You can actually get to that end game build if you have a super high end build. I know I was running a super high end Halden build there for a while. I had to disengage that and revamp it because the cost of the scrap was just way too high, and most of the time I couldn't even craft my Predator Sniper, which I usually like to carry on me so that way I have a little bit of extra range. But this reduction I think was needed. It's kind of halfway in between where the old and the new was, so this is a welcomed addition. Salvage. Salvage, the change here, totally needed. I can't tell you how many times I've gone in and my team was completely wiped and we lost all of our salvage, walked away with nothing except for just a little bit of EXP. What they've done now is they've changed this to where if your team is wiped out, whatever salvage that you found on the ground, you get to keep. Doesn't matter if you lose or win, you still walk away with something. This is kind of controversial on the other side because a lot of people think that this makes it too casual. I understand. But overall, is it really hurting anybody? Not really, because you still have a player cap, or sorry, a player skill cap that's in effect, and a player that is, you know, less skilled is still going to be at a disadvantage against somebody who has more skill. So is it really that big of a deal? Not really, not as far as the person who's really skilled is concerned, but it's kind of a big deal to someone who's less skilled. It allows them to be able to play the game and enjoy it a little bit more. So I kind of like this change. The big one. The big one. This one, as I was perusing Discord, anybody that knows me, Ginger Prime, he definitely knows. I've said it many times on Epic Loot Radio podcast. I avoid Discord servers, especially official Discord servers. I avoid them like the plague. You get the super sweaties in there and you get people throwing their opinions around and this, that, and the other. And usually there's insults that ensue and so forth. So I try to avoid them as much as I possibly can. But today I made an exception because I just wanted to see what the community had to say about this new change. And overall, what I saw was there was a little bit of a mix, but not too much of a mix. I think for the most part, the change was well received in the concept. I think the overall discrepancy with the change has been the delivery of it. So they did away with respawning after the dropship arrives. What that means is that once the dropship arrives, when you die, you die. No coming back. There was actually a person in the Discord that reported that they were already in the middle of respawning back. They were down before the dropship came, and as soon as the dropship kicked in, boom, their timer stopped and they were killed. No turning back. I think this personally is something that needs to be changed. I think it's rather harsh. Hopefully they will change it in the next iteration. I think that overall the community itself will probably be experiencing this a lot because there's a lot that can happen from the time that you get downed until the dropship arrives. I know I myself have been down when the dropship starts to arrive, so this is probably going to be an issue that is going to be commonly occurring, and I really foresee, considering all the changes that they've made so far with the game, I can see them changing this. And there was also a suggestion in the Discord server that the time, instead of it being no respawn for a 5-minute window, that it actually be reduced to a 3-minute window. So during the last 3 minutes of the match, you won't be able to respawn instead of the current 5 minutes. I can kind of jump on board with this. It makes it a little bit less harsh, kind of a nice mesh in between what it currently is and that type of change. Maybe they'll change this in the future, maybe they won't. And that pretty well covers all the major points that I wanted to cover for this patch. It was a small patch, but it also changed the way the game plays. Some of it was well received, some of it seems to be not so well received, but regardless, let me know what you guys think in the comments below. If you like this content and you found it helpful and you want to see more from me, please hit that like and subscribe button, and don't forget to hit that notification bell so when I make future uploads of content just like this one, you'll be notified when I do so. And as always guys, thanks for watching.
That's game.
GG.
Good shit, guys.
Board quickly. Gather leaves in one.
Yeah.